a special Boomer Music experience this month. Randy and I want to pay tribute to Olivia Newton-John. Randy, I know the impact that she had culturally through the 70s right through to 2020 was just so global and so iconic. And when we lose these musicians, such talented people, it's reflected in the world and we see it. And I know for you yourself, this was a tough one. But I'm going to open the floor up to you, and I want you to share with us the life and times of Olivia Newton-John.
Thank you very much, Dave. And Olivia Newton-John, she was certainly a true music legacy and legend in her time. Olivia Newton-John, she was born on September 26, 1948. She was actually three weeks older than I. I share a birthday October 19th, 1948. Anyway, Olivia Newton-John was a British-born Australian singer, actress, and also activist. And she was a very smart lady. Not only could she sing, and she's left us with a lot of memorable music during her singing career, but she was also strong in advocating animal protection. And right to the hilt, she did a lot of different charity runs for animal protection during her career. And as we know, Olivia was a 4-time Grammy Award winner whose music career included 5 #1 hits and many other top 10 hits on Billboard. And as I mentioned in some of our earlier broadcasts, Dave, when your song is on Billboard, you got it made. No matter where it is. If it's 99 out of 100, if it's in the top 5, whatever. So, top 10 hits. Olivia had 2 #1 albums on the Billboard 200. If You Love Me, Let Me Know from 1974. Have You Ever Been Mellow from March of 1975. Now, 11 of her singles included 2 platinum, and 14 of her albums have been certified gold by the RIAA. Now, the RIAA is the recording body of the Industry Association of America. How good is that? Well, that's very good. Olivia had global sales of more than 100 million records. Let me repeat that. Olivia had global sales around the world of more than 100 million records. I can't even comprehend 100 million records, Dave. Can you?
No, that's phenomenal. It's incredible.
Unbelievable. So we're going to take a look at Olivia's career beginnings. Olivia went to primary school with Daryl Braithwaite, who also followed a singing career. At the age of 14, Olivia formed Soul 4. It was a short-lived girl group with 3 classmates performing at a coffee shop owned by her brother-in-law. This is how she got her start into singing. Now, Olivia originally, get this, wanted to become a veterinarian. And I'm sure had she chosen that field endeavor work, she would have excelled big time. But she chose to focus on performance instead because she had doubts about her ability to pass science exams. That was the only thing that held her back. Otherwise, she could have been maybe one of the world's best veterinarians. Who knows?
And it explains so much about her advocacy work for the animals right there. It tells you where it all came from.
That's right, Dave. And the fact she was thinking of becoming a veterinarian, right there, her love of the animals, as you had mentioned, up front and foremost. In 1964, Olivia's first recognized acting talent was portrayed as Lady Mary Lesbie. And this was in her university high school program. So here again, Olivia, I mean, she was not just a pretty face, a great singer, but she had smarts too. So with the production of Admiral Crichton, she became Young Sun's Drama Award Best Schoolgirl Actress runner-up. Here again, the year 1964. She became a regular on the local Australian television shows, including Time for Terry and HSV's 7, The Happy Show. And there she performed Lovely Livy. Wow, what a great moniker, Lovely Livy. She also appeared on The Go Show when she met her future duet partner, singer Pat Carroll, and her future music producer, John Ferreira. In 1965, Olivia entered and won a talent contest on the television program, again, 1965. It was called Sing, 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 and it was hosted in 1960 by Australian's icon, Johnny O'Keefe. Well, he was Mr. Television over in Australia for many, many years. And so he performed Anyone Who Had a Heart. That was a great hit with Dionne Warwick in 1964 on the American charts. And the other song he performed, Everything's Coming Up Roses. Olivia Newton-John recorded her first single, Till You Say You'll Be Mine, in Britain for Decca Records, the year 1966. And once again, in previous broadcasts, Dave, Decca Records in the decade of the 60s was one of the record companies to get your song produced on. Decca Records, Columbia was a close second, and so on down the line. But Decca Records, when you were on Decca Records, you were in. So while Olivia was in Britain, she missed her then boyfriend, Ian Turpie. Ian was a great guy, and with him, she co-starred in the Australian telefilm Funny Things Happen Down Under. Wow, what a name for a film. And of course, she repeatedly booked trips back to Australia so that she could see her boyfriend, Ian Turpie, but her mother kept canceling the book trips. Oh my God. Olivia, her outlet changed when Pat Carroll moved to the UK. The two formed a duo called Pat and Olivia, and what they did, Dave, they toured various nightclubs throughout Europe. So what a tremendous start here on her music career. Olivia Newton-John was recruited for the group Tomorrow, and this was formed by American producer Don Kirshner. Now, Don Kirshner, he has brought out all kinds of compilations of the best music of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. In 1970, the group starred in a science fiction musical and recorded an accompanying soundtrack album on RCA Records, and both named after the group. So once again, RCA Records right up there with Decca. Olivia, she released her first solo album, It's Not For You, in 1971. And this song, the album itself, it skyrocketed right to the top, not only of the UK charts, but also Billboard 100. Once again, in the album category. Okay. Olivia was voted Best British Female Vocalist 2 years in a row by the magazine Record Mirror. And Record Mirror is, and has been for many, many years, the top music magazine in the UK or Great Britain. Olivia made frequent appearances on the Cliff Richards weekly show, It's Cliff Richards. And of course, Cliff Richards in the early 60s, he gave us a lot of good songs like Summer Holiday. Later on in the 80s, We Don't Talk Anymore. Cliff Richards, a dynamo singer for the 60s. In 1972, Olivia's second UK album, entitled Olivia, was released, but it never was formally issued in the United States. And I don't know. I don't know why that was, because it was a good album and it sold very, very well. Anyway, the year was 1973 now, and Olivia released Let Me Be There. And this really was the song, Dave, that pole vaulted her into the public eye with her wonderful, beautiful voice. And Here We Come hit parade. Let Me Be There in 1973 was a quadruple platinum hit.
Was that written by Dylan? I want to think that was written by Dylan. We've had this conversation.
Yes,
I'll have to double check that.
Yep,
but
it absolutely was.
Isn't that crazy?
Correct,
isn't that crazy how
Bob Dylan?
Yeah, and and just sort of what you've explained to me so far, it sounds to me like she's putting in the journey, putting in the 10,000 hours to get to that point. She's really dedicated to her singing profession, acting as well.
Yes. But absolutely.
You can see that. I don't know. I just go with what you're telling me. You can just see it sort of climbing, right? You can see the elevation coming in a career.
That's right. And in that same year, Dave, of 1973, Olivia was nominated for a Grammy for the Best Country Female. Now, want to kind of divert a little bit here. Olivia Newton-John, a lot of people think, oh, she was a great pop singer. But what she was, in fact, what we call in the DJ industry and the music industry, she was a crossover artist. In other words, she performed well on her pop songs, but she also performed very well on a lot of the country songs that she did too during the 70s. So definitely a crossover artist. In 1974, Olivia represented the United Kingdom in the Eurovision Song Contest with the song Long Live Love. And the song was chosen for Olivia by the British public out of 6 possible entries, and she nailed this song, Dave. The Long Live Love was so popular, she made that title her next album. And it was released this time in the US and Canada. And If You Love Me, Let Me Know, it just went crazy. It went crazy busy. Again, quadruple platinum. And in the UK and Australia, If You Love Me, Let Me Know was featured on compilations, First Impressions and Olivia's Greatest Hits. So this is really cemented her career in 1973 as an established, accomplished singer.
Is this when you first heard her? I never even asked you, when did you first hear Olivia Newton-John?
This would have been April of 1973.
Is that when you first heard her?
First heard this song. And
what was your impression?
I knew she had a solid voice, stability, and this gal was going to make a mark on the music world. No question about it. And of course, she was named Vocalist of the Year in 1974, defeating Here Again. And Here Again, this is more country-based. She defeated out some of the Nashville nominees, including Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, and Tanya Tucker, as well as our own Annie Murray. Unbelievable. So, encouraged by the Australian singer Helen Reddy, Olivia left the UK and she moved to the United States. Olivia topped the pop charts and country charts. Here again, crossover music. Have You Ever Been Mellow? It was March of 1975 that this song hit the top 5 of the American Billboard 100. So Olivia Newton-John's singles continued to top not only the Billboard charts, not only the country charts, but also the AC charts. Now, the AC charts are what is called the adult contemporary, and that's kind of a crossover between a bit of country, a little bit of pop, good mixture. So I would like to share with our audience, Dave, some of the singles to date in the 70s, to mid-70s that have been platinum hits for her. I Honestly Love You, 1974, 3 weeks at number 1. Have You Ever Been Mellow? 1 week at number 1, 1975. Please, Mr. Please, and there's the record jacket just in back of me. Please, Mr. Please, 75, 3 weeks at number 1. Something Better to Do, 3 weeks at number 1, 1975. Let It Shine, He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, 1976, which was a huge hit song for the Hollies in 1971. Come On Over, 1 week at number 1, 1976. And Don't Stop Believin', 1 week, number 1, 1976. So here we're dealing with early 70s right up until about mid-70s. And she provided a prominent but uncredited vocal with John Denver's Fly Away. When you listen to that song by John Denver, in the back, you'll hear a very faint female voice doing the vocals on John Denver's Fly Away. But she never got credit for that. And in fact, I was listening to that song the other night on John Denver's Greatest Hits CD. And absolutely right. Yeah, her voice is very mellow in the background. What a great song also for the late John Denver. If you get a chance to listen to it, the name once again, Fly Away, you'll hear Olivia's voice in the back. Just a few notes there. And I just wanted to, at this time, before we get into the later 70s, Dave, you have many memories of Olivia Newton-John. Could you share those with us, please?
Well, as a kid growing up, I mean, I understood who she was, but I was of that age. So when Grease hits, that's when it kind of explodes for me, and everybody knows who Olivia Newton-John is after that, and that iconic role that she played. And yeah, you've got the CD right there. I did want to mention, if I have a moment, Randy, though, one of the things last weekend I found, it kind of caught me off guard. I was watching the Foo Fighters tribute concert to Taylor Hawkins.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Wolfgang Van Halen was up doing a set. And on the drum kit, there was a picture of Olivia Newton-John. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like they're paying tribute to her as well. They're, as they were Taylor Hawkins, who passed, and Eddie Van Halen, and all the great musicians that they covered. But I went a little deeper, and I found out that Taylor Hawkins, Dave Grohl, huge Olivia Newton-John fans. These are punk rockers and grunge rockers from way back.
Yes.
And they just said, her voice was angelic. And they had actually invited her in 2016 or 17 to actually play with the Foo Fighters, but she declined. Unfortunately, she couldn't do it at that time. But I think that, to me, spoke to her impact on generations, right? Mm-hmm. Because Taylor Hawkins' quote was, he was 7 years old. She was the perfect woman, right? When he heard her sing, have you never been mellow? So I think that kind of, to me, it kind of said something about just all of music in general, but the impact that she had from punk to grunge to, you know what I mean? She was there. She was at that early stage in the 70s when all these guys were just young boys, and there was Olivia present, making her presence felt. I thought you'd appreciate that, because it was interesting to find that research and see that, that's what it was going on. But for myself, yeah, it was Grease. I mean, once you saw that, you were like, holy cow, right? That was it. And then you just wanted to hear her music, because you understood more of who she was. And, putting people on film in those days was a big thing. That was a huge movie, musical. So it just kind of made that much of an impact. Now, I understand that you have Olivia Newton-John story way better than mine. Would you be willing to share it?
It's kind of low key. During the years, Dave, that I was working at Toronto International as a federal agent, got to meet a lot of people coming through, celebrities, and you name it. Anyway, Olivia Newton-John on numerous occasions through Terminal 2, the Air Canada terminal, which was built in June of 1972. But this one time I was on my way for a coffee break, and Olivia was coming through Customs Secondary, and she must have heard me. She said, "Oh, God, I love a coffee right now." And I turned and I looked at her, and Dave, I have no idea why I said this to her. I said, "Olivia, would you like to join me for a coffee? It's just out these double doors. It's right across the way here. I know you probably got a hectic schedule because I know you're playing this weekend in the Imperial Room at the Royal York." She said, "Oh, no, I would love to have a coffee." Okay, let's have a coffee together. We went over. All I said to her, I congratulated her on the success of her music career and continued success. And then I just let her talk for a little bit. Skycap came over. Bernie, one of the best Skycaps Toronto International has ever known. And so anyway, she had two fairly heavy bags with her, of clothing, obviously. And so when she was having a coffee, I said, "Excuse me just a sec, Olivia. I'm going to get this Skycap to help you with your bags to get to the front of the terminal." So he comes up, and I slip him a 20 underneath. I said, "Take good care of Olivia. She's performing tonight at the Imperial Room, Royal York." And he did exactly that. And so that was basically it. He took her right out to the front door there. She got a cab, the whole works, da-da-da.
Was she as nice in person? Was she as nice in person as?
Olivia Newton-John, Dave, and I want to share this with our audience, and I truly mean this from my heart. Olivia was the gal next door, wholesome, kind-hearted, would help anybody, and it's the girl that your mother wanted you to marry. And I can't say it any better than that.
You summed it up right there, buddy. I think it's really cool that you had that opportunity to hang with an icon that you appreciated, even if it's, like you said, it's 10 minutes in a coffee. But I mean, those 10 minutes will never diminish in your life. I know that.
No.
And the character, like you said, she was legit. I mean, it would have been easy enough for her to blow you off, and you know what I mean? But to actually take the time to appreciate her fans too. I got so many questions, but I know you said it was just a short conversation, but just knowing that you had that opportunity, what was it? How did that set you up? I mean, you must have felt pretty good too.
Yeah, I was on cloud 50 for the rest of my shift. And then of course, some of the customs folks came up and, "I don't believe you said that. You got a coffee date with Olivia?" I said, "Yes, it's just very low key. She's got a lot on her mind. She's performing, and just 10 minutes. That was it."
I think
I just played it very low key. I didn't try but inside I was but I just kept on the outside. I kept it very low key, very calm. So.
Well, and I think too, I mean, whenever people meet you, they get such a good vibe. You're very easygoing. You're very, very compassionate person. So I think she probably picked up on that as well, that you were just a nice person who wanted to have a coffee with her. That's all it was. And I think that speaks volumes
exactly it in a nutshell.
To your character. Well, it speaks volumes to your character, because you weren't that crazed fan. You weren't, you were just say, hey. So the conversation was pretty brief though, eh? Like you just kind of chatted about
pretty
her music.
Brief. I just congratulated her on her hit songs, which I named half a dozen of them. She was impressed with that. And then I just let her have the conversation. I threw it right over to her, just like doing an radio interview, and I just threw it right back to her, and she chatted for a few minutes, but that 10 minutes seemed like about 2 minutes. It went so fast.
Yeah.
But hey, full marks to her. And as you alluded to, Dave, it was July now of 1978. And this is really when Olivia's career just soared. With the movie Grease, she now becomes a mega superstar. And Grease is the word. Yes, Grease is the word. And it really elevated her career above and beyond. So after she starred in the film adaptation of Broadway musical Grease, she was offered a lead role of Sandy after meeting the producer Alan Carr at a dinner party at Helen Reddy's home. Of course, Helen Reddy, Down Under. She had a great musical career too, the late Helen Reddy. So anyway, she was concerned a bit playing the role of Sandy. Well, why was this? Well, she said she was 28 years old and was too old to play a high school senior part. At 28 years young, God, she looked gorgeous at 28 years young. And Olivia also insisted on a screen test with the film's co-lead, Johnny Travolta, which is fine. And they got along very well during the filming. And so anyway, she became Sandy Olsen. And as we all know, the rest is history. The Grease musical became the biggest box office hit of 1978. The soundtrack album itself spent 12 consecutive weeks at #1, and it yielded 5 top singles for Olivia. And quadruple platinum, You're the One That I Want. Great, great song. Another gold, Hopelessly Devoted to You, Summer Nights. And here again, these are just but a few. The 2 singles, Hopelessly Devoted to You and Summer Nights, they were in the top 5 Billboard simultaneously, both songs. How good is that? And because of that, she earned a People's Choice Award for Favorite Film Actress. She was nominated for a Golden Globe Award as Best Actress in a Musical and performed the Oscar-nominated Hopelessly Devoted to You. And wow, so Grease really propelled her. Unbelievable.
It took her to a whole nother level.
Oh, it really did. It really did, Dave. She now is a superstar in her own right.
Yep.
Now we take a look at the early 80s. And of course, 1981 was her big hit, Physical. And this was not only a good kind of an R&B single. It was a good hit, but it also became the national anthem, if you will, for workouts, for keeping in shape. Let's get physical. And here again, this song did quadruple platinum on the UK charts, and it was voted the best song for the decade of the 80s. And there was a lot of great music of the 80s. You go right on down the list. But this was voted the #1 song for the decade of the 80s based on popularity and record sales. So there we have it, early 1980s. She's back at it. Olivia Newton-John, she reteamed with Johnny Travolta in 1983 for the critically and commercially unsuccessful Two of a Kind. But still, they came back together, the early 80s. Hey, how good is that? Now, the same year, 1983, Olivia and Pat Ferreira, formerly Pat Carroll, founded Cola Blue. Okay, Cola Blue they originated the store from Australian imports, and it really evolved into a wonderful chain of women's clothing, like boutique clothing. Mm-hmm. It was a good line, and it was a very successful line of clothing. In fact, here's another little story I'm going to share with you. I donated this beautiful red dress made in Australia. It's the same clothing line, one of the same clothing lines that Olivia had. And I donated that as a golf prize last Saturday in the annual Piltover Royal Canadian Legion Golf Classic. So,
Nice.
Beautiful dress. Very nice. Anyway, we're going back to Olivia Newton-John. And Olivia was primed for another comeback in 1992. She compiled her third hits collection called Back to Basics, the Essential Collection. And that is this CD here, Back to Basics, the Essential Collection. All her greatest hits on that. That's a great, great CD to have. And so she planned from this her first tour since her physical trek 10 years earlier. Now, unfortunately, she had to cancel the tour. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and forcing her to also cancel any album recordings, any of the touring. She received her diagnosis the same week her father passed away. Oh, how hard that must have been. Olivia recovered and later became an advocate for the breast cancer research and other health issues. And Dave, I want to share this with our audience. This is very important. In the year 2005, Olivia Newton-John headed up and coordinated with Hallmark Canada, this CD here, and it features 10 different songs that Olivia made especially for the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation.
I did not know that. Wow.
And this, as you can see, was $12.95 retail, and you bought a copy of this CD, every $2 would go directly to the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. No in between, no middleman here, directly there. And there's our CD right there. It's a great little CD. I've never opened this before. I guess, and I apologize to the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation of Canada with our runs coming up, the Run for the Cure, CIBC, on Sunday, October 2nd this year. I think maybe I'll break into this and play a few of her songs from this CD. But what a great gesture for Olivia, teaming up with the Breast Cancer Foundation of Canada. The year was 2005.
I did not know that that happened. So thank you for sharing that, Randy. That's just another way she was giving back.
Yes, absolutely. So here we have it. Olivia, she performed in the 1979 Music for UNICEF concert for the UN's International Year of the Child. And of course, that was televised worldwide. And during the concert, artists performed songs for which they donated their royalties and to benefit that particular cause. So here, along with her singing, she is quite vocal with her help with those who are suffering with cancer, who have suffered with cancer, a very strong advocate for the cancer societies, but especially, and thank you very much, Olivia, especially the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation of Canada. How good is that? That's terrific. Yeah. And that was 2005. The name of that CD, Dave, is Stronger Than Before. And this was her second exclusive album for Hallmark Cards. She did a very successful Christmas album with Vince Gill. That was, I think, around the year 2000. And all sales from that went directly to the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation of Canada. Now, just want to clear a few things up with Olivia. She was born in England, but they moved from England 3 years after she was born to Australia, in a small burg just south of Melbourne, Australia. So I guess legally you could call her British born,
Mm-hmm.
but she was asked that by one of the reporters, and she said, "All due respect to my British birth, but I am Australian."
Yeah.
So
Where she grew up. Yeah. It's what she knew.
And of course, she knew a lot of the Australians very well, like the Bee Gees, Helen Reddy, and I can go on and on and on. Anyway, she also did for the United States, Dave. She released a healing CD called Grace and Gratitude, and that album was sold exclusively in the United States at all of the Walgreens stores. And this was to benefit various charities, but the most important charity in the United States was the National Breast Cancer Organization. And the CD was actually the heart, the body, and the soul of the Spirit of Wellness collection. And that's what she wanted to get across. And she got that message across very, very smartly and directly. Now, in 2002, just 20 years ago, Olivia was inducted into Australia's ARIA Hall of Fame. And rightly so. Well deserved. Olivia acted occasionally, two of a kind. She appeared in a supporting role in 1996. It's My Party. She's worked on a few of the Christmas TV shows, A Mom for Christmas back in 1990. And also her daughter Chloe starred as one of her children in both A Christmas Romance in 2001 and also Wild Girls. Good for her. And Chloe, she has a personality a lot like her late mother. Really, really nice girl. Now we take a look at January 2011. Olivia began filming the comedy A Few Best Men in Australia, and director Stephen Elliott in the role of Mother of the Bride. How good is that? Well, that was only
it's not long
about
ago.
10 years ago.
No.
Olivia was actively touring and doing concerts from 2012 to 2017, and she also performed a handful of shows in 2018. Okay, that's just 4 years ago. Her dates for A Summer Night with Olivia Newton-John included stops in Asia and right here in Canada, and culminated in a rare concert appearance in London in 2013. In March of 2013, UK Trek also encompassed her encompassing tours were Brighton, Birmingham, Manchester, Cardiff, and Wales. Wow, that's a lot of touring in the 2012-2013. In November of 2012, Olivia teamed up with Johnny Travolta to make the album This Christmas. And this was in support, again, of the Olivia Newton-John Cancer and Wellness Center, located in Australia, and also the Jeff Travolta Foundation. And artists featured on this album included, ready for this? Barbra Streisand, James Taylor, Kenny G, Tony Bennett, Cliff Richards, Count Basie Orchestra, and a few more. Like, wow, that's mind-boggling, Dave. Like,
great.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So in 2013, she took up residency at the Flamingo Las Vegas, But she had to postpone that early because of the death of her sister, Rona. And she was only 72 when she passed away from a brain tumor. So then Olivia started up again. The year was 2014 in her Vegas sessions. And then her cancer came back. And she kept a bold front. And she continued on singing. And then in December of 2019, Olivia and Travolta re-teamed up for Meet and Grease, sorry. Like Meet and Grease. And this was a series of sing-along events in the Florida cities of Tampa, West Palm Beach, and Jacksonville. Subsequently, a sing-along rebroadcast of Grease aired on CBS television. Good for CBS. In February of 2020, Olivia appeared at the Firefight Australia charity event, and this was her final public performance. That was February of 2020. And Olivia released her final single, January 2021, Window in the Wall. It was a duet about unity, which she recorded for her daughter, Chloe. Now, the music video for the song peaked at #1 on the iTunes Pop Music chart the week of release. And how good is that? Unbelievable. And that pretty well takes care of her career. In May of 2017, it was announced that Olivia's breast cancer had returned, and now the cancer cells were in her lower back. Her back pains had initially been diagnosed as sciatica. Okay, big difference there. She subsequently revealed that this was actually her third bout with breast cancer, as she had a reoccurrence of the disease in 2013, in addition to her initial attack in 1992. So with the reoccurrence in 2017, the cancer had spread into her bones and progressed into a stage 4 cancer.
Terrible. It's and she just kept going too. Eh? She just kept performing.
She did.
Which she talks a lot about the character.
Passed away on August 8th of this year. Dave, we'll send it back to you.
Randy, that's such a fitting tribute for Olivia Newton-John, and I know it's an emotional show for you to do. And I can't thank you enough for the amount of information you provided today. It just shows how big this career was and how important she was to the world as, like we talked about earlier, a global icon. I do got to ask, as a DJ, does it bring a smile to your face? Because I know you still get requests for all those songs from Grease. And is there any one in particular that you're just like, oh, here we go? You always know what's coming. What's the Grease song that's #1 on the DJ list?
Well, actually, it's her signature song from Grease, Dave. Thank you very much for asking me this. I still get many requests for I'm Hopelessly Devoted to You. And that is her most requested song from the movie Grease. Now, the other song outside of Grease that's mostly requested, Physical.
Yeah.
And that loads the dance floor automatic, guaranteed. But Hopelessly Devoted to You, when I play that, it's a very mellow love song. It's her very, very best. I think that's my favorite song that Olivia ever recorded. And I always make sure that'll be a spot dance, and I give away a beautiful floral plant, be it roses or carnations, spot dance to the ladies only.
And you could probably just, like when you play one off of Grease, you could probably play 4, couldn't you? Like Exactly. They'd stay on the dance floor for it. They would just stay.
Exactly right, Dave.
It just creates such a vibe and a good mood. And I think that's one of the things that I'll always remember, from Grease. is that just that good feeling with the music, just that how much fun it was. You know what I mean? I think that's something that she provided for a lot of my generation and your generation as well. It's kind of just iconic, and it's sad to lose her, but the music will live on. Guys like you, DJs, will just keep playing it.
Absolutely, Dave. And yes, indeed, Olivia Newton-John was certainly a legend in her own time.
Thanks for doing this today, Randy. You have a great week.
You too, Dave, and I appreciated working with you on this. And what a great tribute show for the late Olivia Newton-John. Thank you.